allow ourselves the idea that life is not serious. Because somehow you feel if you aren't engaged in something serious, you're a loafer. You're not contributing to the social welfare. And so in this way, the artist has a peculiar role in this society. Very, very interesting. Because the artist is a very deceptive fellow. He appears to be the supreme luxury, the irrelevant fellow. You can afford an artist. You can afford to buy paintings if you have surplus money. That's a luxury. So you can support an artist, and we call it fine arts. The completely useless person who makes paintings, which are sort of big labels or posters that you stick on your utilitarian walls to decorate them. But on the other hand, the artist is the man who shows you the future long before everybody else sees it. The artist is the eye-opener. Just because the artist is distinct in role from the preacher and the philosopher. So the role of the artist is very fascinating, because he appears to be the clown, the jester, the absolutely unimportant and irrelevant person. And yet it's actually through the artist that we learn how to live. Not through the preacher, not through the philosopher, not through the professor. It is the artist teaches us, whether he does it visually, in painting, or sculpture, tactually, or whether, above all, in music. You should read, if you can get hold of it, an interview with George Harrison, one of the Beatles, in a recent issue of the East Village Other, where he explains the deep philosophy of music that they understand and follow. How the very nature of sound reveals the meaning of the world, and why, because of this, he regards himself as a Hindu. In Hinduism, the fundamental source of life is called Vak. Vak in Sanskrit means the word, to speak, but not so much the word that communicates as the sound, the utterance, the flow of tone. So you have in India the use of mantra, the use of chanted words as one of the very basic forms of yoga, understanding the mystery of the world. The Hindus use the word Om, which would be spelled out A-U-M, because the letter A, is in the back of the throat. You push it through the vowel to Aum, it's at the lips. So the word Om comprehends the whole range of sound. It's called the pranava. All sounds are basically the sound Om, but varied. The word that not only signifies, but also is what there is. Everything is Om. Om, sweet Om. The whole universe is Om. And it has no meaning, except it is the very pulse of life. Some of you have read a book of mine called The Joyous Cosmology, in which I referred to once a very curious experience I had with Hindu music. I happen to have acquired from Timothy Leary some of this extraordinary Mexican mushroom, and I was feeling awful. I'd come back from a trip to the East, and was tired, and I had a sore throat, and it was just lousy. So I took this thing. And I found myself listening to this Hindu music. I didn't know what it was. And I thought when I listened to this, what kind of idiocy is going on? I thought, you see, my friend with whom I was spending the day was a pretty wild kind of fellow. And I thought he had put on a tape recording of his and his friend's antics. It was like children making faces. I thought this is just something absolutely absurd going on. So I said, Roger, hey, let me see the album. So I got the case. Here it says, Classical Music of India, edited by Anand Danielu, who is the most scholarly, respectable pundit on the subject of Hindu music. I said, somebody's pulling my leg. No, not at all. Here was this just babbling sound. Not only do the dit-dar business, but they also could use their voices like oboes. You know how that... You can put a clothespin on your nose and do an oboe stuff. And it sounded like this, and it was just this whole kind of business. Children were just going out of their heads. Well, I listened to this and I suddenly realized that that's what life's all about. And, you know, it was the most fantastic, sudden recognition that everything in this world is gloriously meaningless. That's what's happening. We're all taught by our mothers and fathers to put a value on it. When it goes a certain way, the rhythm of life goes in a certain way. When we say, oh, watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out, because that may be the end. What will the end be? Funk. What's wrong with that? Things that start have to stop. Things that go on have to go off, and things that go off have to go on. But you see, we get involved by putting a value on it all. Right, now I could say that's bad, you shouldn't do it, but at the same time, getting involved and putting values on it's all part of the game too. Getting hung up, getting hooked. So you don't get unhooked by saying to yourself, I shouldn't be attached. I shouldn't do this, I shouldn't do that. All you do is you see that getting hooked on it is simply another form of it. More nonsense. More jazz, but deeper jazz. When you see a fern, it has, first of all, the main branch. Then it has sub-branches. And out of these sub-branches come sub-sub-branches. And out of the sub-sub-branches come sub-sub-sub-branches. And so you get a fern. So now you could number each of these levels on which things are happening. You say, well, this is a number 1 level, this is a number 42 level, this is a number 65 level. And you judge events and say it's good, it's bad, it's proper, it's improper. But what you don't recognize is that you say something is improper because you thought it was a 63 level, whereas really it was 112. And you didn't know, you didn't realize the level the thing was on. So actually, in the whole play of human life, with all its joys and sorrows, its tragedies, its evils, its good, is just something like a fern. It has tumors on it. That means just simply another clan is making its life there. The clan of bugs of some kind are living there too. They're doing their stuff. They're living off the fern's living off something else. We're all leaning on each other in one way or another. Now I saw this whole thing as this fantastic play.